presenting the Disability Insurance Automation Project. Our next speaker is Natalie Mack, Projects and Technology Deputy Chief for the Employment Development Department.
Good morning. The Employment Development Department's Disability Insurance Program provides benefits to out-of-work people who are injured or ill and can't get their wages. We, on average, process about 1 million initial claims and over 5 million continued claims and pay out over $4 billion in benefits every year. Prior to SDI Online, the process was very, very manual. So you get a paper application, you fill it out. Some of you have been through this experience. You go to the doctor has to manually fill out their application. Employers get provided another paper form to fill out. The coordination of all that had some built-in delays. Once it was finally submitted, then the waiting game begins. These folks need their money. They're at their most vulnerable point. And they'd call us and say, you know, what's the status? Unless we had actually received it, we couldn't even give them that. We would have to wait until it came in and got processed before we'd actually be able to see their claim. Our system required manual key data entry of all the forms that came in and then manual processing of those forms as well. As we looked at our business, despite the fact that we were paying claims in a timely manner, we took a look at how can we make it better? What could we do to improve our customer service? So in 2010, we began the journey with our partner, Deloitte Consulting. We set out to build and implement an automated claims processing system. As a result of an extraordinary collaboration between internal and external groups that included medical providers, employers, interest groups, SDI Online was successfully implemented in 2012. Using state-of-the-art technology, we were able to now reduce entering those more than 6 million forms to an automated system that saved and allowed for hundreds of thousands of staff hours to be redirected towards increasing customer service in other areas. It improved our ability to detect and eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. It empowered Californians to self-serve and obtain their claim information directly. So let's fast forward to now. SDI Online is implemented. Instead of using a paper application, a claimant can go online and register and file. The medical provider can go online, register, medically certify the claim. In some instances, those forms match up automatically, that's my word, and the claim process without any manual intervention at all. It allows for more responsiveness when customers call in. Employers can actually validate employment information online as well. It provides our customer base the ability to receive communications electronically. So the time and money associated with forms, I'm getting feedback, forms and mailing is also saved. The system can automatically determine eligibility and provide payments to folks who desperately need them. So up until 2012, claimants checked the status of their claims by calling. The frustration was there, everyone's very aware. We looked at that. 2012, they log on, they check it through their computer systems. Being that this was built on such a sustainable system and we've got such a great process in place and collaborative effort between our departments, later this year, those same customers will be able to go onto their mobile device and check the status of their claim. EDD is committed to consistently looking at and continuing modernization efforts that increase the efficiency and make the program better for our internal and external customers. SDI Online increases efficiency, reduces waste, cuts costs, and most importantly, provides a process that California citizens can rely on. Thank you.
Natalie, you brought your fan base with you. Hi,
Mom.
Yeah, really. Well, thank you for your explanation. Has technology changed the process on how you handle the claims, or is it simply just automated the process?
Both. So when we were building the system, we had the benefit of it being a very collaborative effort between our technology branch and our business processes, and some of the system built-in business rules so that the more common types of claims can go through cleanly. So our initial claims, about 20% of them processed without anyone having to touch them. Our continued claims, about 80%. And what that allows is for our more complex claims to really be investigated more thoroughly and have a lot more in-depth time attached to them. So our business process has changed and allowed us to, provide a much higher level of service.
Thank you.
Natalie, in changing your business processes, what type of an evaluation or business reengineering did you undertake in order to realize what you really needed technology to do?
It's a great question. So we looked at the internal procedures, the internal processes. We involved the folks who actually were doing the work and looked at the things that took the most time and caused the most delays. We relied on best practice recommendations from the vendor for things that had already been proven to be successful. We also, when we originally went live, we had a faux go, a mock go live, where we actually did the work in 2 environments, in the legacy system as well as the new system, to validate that the efficiencies we thought we would receive would actually come to pass and that we were getting the accuracy that we needed, and both were very successful.
Just a quick follow-up. Sure. In terms of that period of time when you were looking at your processes, did you set up a governance group, if you will? You had a program manager. As you were evaluating your processes, how did you make those decisions that were going to be part of what the technology would help you do?
So we had several steering committees because as part of the transition from paper to automation, we actually upgraded our system as well. So we went from the green screens to a .NET based. So our steering committees were both dedicated to maintaining the integrity of our system and the steps that we were taking towards change kind of along the way incrementally to make sure we weren't validating any of that integrity, as well as the security components. So there were all the kind of different factions who looked at it with different eyes, but then came together to ensure that we were still moving towards the same goals. So yes, there were several different committees, but very collaborative and very connected.
So this is a follow-up to Secretary Batcher's question, but during this, this idea of a FOGO is intriguing to me, especially when you're dealing with an area like EDD and you have people's who have suffered a debilitating injury are counting on those dollars to come in. What thought and processes took place to make sure you didn't have downtime and that that the whole system was going to work consistently enough that you weren't concerned about the lifeline to these people?
So that's very good. What we originally did with the FOGO was the first couple months that we were processing, we kind of did it in duplicate. So the legacy system didn't sunset right away. So there was always the fallback of if it all blew apart, which it never did. But if it had, there was the fallback that we would be able to still maintain and keep folks getting paid, because that's obviously the priority of making sure we get these folks their money.
So I'm going to show my law enforcement bias and background here with this question. So tell me about the impact on fraud prevention.
When we built the system, we really took fraud into consideration a lot. In a paper environment, anybody can fill out anything, and you're kind of at the mercy of, this license checks through. Now we have, through partnership with the Department of Consumer Affairs, we validate licenses of medical providers. Claimants that come on have to register with a series of validation checks. So there's a lot more fraud prevention in place. I had some numbers ran just last night to figure out how much fraud prevention, and they came back with $5.6 million in fraud prevention since go live in late 2012. So we're very proud of that as well.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.